Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhan dhammang sanghang namasami. For this evening, Ajahn Pasanno advised or suggested me to offer Dhamma reflection because I still just came back from Japan at the beginning of April. I hope this goes okay. Today I made already two mistakes. The first, the morning at the breakfast time, I forgot to invite Ajahn Pasanno to offer us a short reflection. I completely forgot. So I already apologized to Ajahn Paul, but I'd like to apologize to everybody too, because that was, although it is a short reflection, but it was very helpful to us to meet, and I believe for everybody, so apologies. And the second one, this is more personal, rather embarrassing. At the Anumodana time, after we chanted Anumodana, and then when we bowed 3 times in to the ceremony, but probably I bowed 4 times. And I thought I was going to bow 3 times, and then people already standing up, and so I hope not many people noticed it. And people ask how I am doing, and particularly me being in a position sitting at the front, even to side by side to Ajahn Pasanno. When I came back from Japan on the 1st of April, I just arrived in time. Ajahn Amaro was departing, literally 20-30 minutes before he departed. From here, I flew back from Japan, and from Heathrow, I arrived at the monastery 12:30 or something. And I put my luggage in my room, and then straight went to his kuti. He was there, and he greeted me with very beautiful smile and nice presence, as everybody remember. And we just chatted a little bit, and then soon after, Ajahn Pasanno also joined us. So only just a short encounter, but I felt I was very pleased that I managed, and I was able to see him departing off together with many of us. And so I knew I was going to be a sort of, when Ajahn Maro is away, my role is to cover some of the things he was doing. I can't do everything, but at least to sort of coordinate, facilitate the community to function smoothly, harmoniously. But I didn't expect that I was going to sit next side by side to Ajahn Pasanno. When the idea was mentioned to me, my immediate reaction was, no, impossible. It was very clear. But many people really gave me a good reason and a kind encouragement. So I was convinced, and I started sitting next to Ajahn Pasanno. initially, as you can imagine, quite an amount of self-consciousness was my experience, and also uneasiness sitting next to Lumpur, because Lumpur Pasanno was my first teacher of my monastic training. When I came to Wat Panachat International Forest Monastery in Thailand, he was the abbot. And actually my name, Nyanarato, was chosen by him. So he asked me, Lumpur asked me, when did we spend Avasa together last time? Lumpur, it was 37 years ago. When I mentioned to this one of the monks, he replied, oh, I wasn't born yet. So somehow the sense of time, I need to still to incorporate all of this, to settle in myself. Of course, sitting next to Lumpur was very, how to say, brings me a lot of warmth together with still a clear sense of gratitude. When I came to Wat Panachat, that was 1986. Yes, it's January. I still remember. I was a backpacker. After I graduated medical school in Japan, I was traveling. First year in India, the next year, second year, I was in Thailand, staying at various monasteries or meditation center. Eventually, I came to Wat Panachat. And so he was the abbot when I was still layman, and then to become Pakao or Anagarika, as we call here, and then novice, and eventually to become a monk. So naturally, some of the memories I didn't forget, but I didn't have to recall. But naturally, some of the things keeping on coming up to my mind. For example, like Lumpur Pasanno has been offering us reading the book The Island, and yesterday, yes, but also the one before, Lumpur quoted the sutta, the story when Sariputta realized the Dhamma. If I go to detail, it's not stream entry, but he realized the full liberation. And that was the time Lord Buddha was addressing to someone. And then Sariputta was offering funding to Buddha. And when I heard this, memory came back. When I was really newly ordained, I can tell April 1987, because that was soon after my Upasampada Bhikkhu ordination. Wat Panachat Sangha had a retreat at Wat Kuan. It's a big monastery next to a lake, and because the abbot then was Ajahn Pasanno, Australian monk, that's why sometimes the monks from Wat Panachat would spend some time there. And in those days, Lumpur's medal, he was, it's 1987, so it's already Amaravati existed, But Rinpoche Medo was visiting Wat Panachat from time to time. Often when Rinpoche's condition became quite critical, but also once a year he would come to Wat Panachat to lead a retreat for the Sangha. So all the monks, both who are staying at Wat Panachat or some of us were spread the various branch monasteries throughout Thailand. So we were called in and then had the opportunity to participate at the Rinpoche Medo's retreat. And it was usually at Wat Panachat, but that year it happened at Wat Kha. It's a big monastery, 2,000 rai, so something like 6-7 acres. It's next to a big lake, and then its facility at the buildings are sort of minimum. So when we had the gathering, sometimes we used the sala, wooden sala, but at the tea time, we sat on the open area on the ground, and then Rinpoche Medo was on a bench. And it's not time for formal talk or anything, but possibly some question and answer or some friendly conversation between the monastics. And then so Rinpoche Medo was sitting on a bench, and then next to him, Rinpoche Pasanno or Ajahn Pasanno then he was offering funning Rinpoche Medo. I think it was first time for me to see how to say, a monk or offering funding to a senior monk. And also to me, at Wat Panachat, when it is hot, we already had the electric fan, so using a usual fan, traditional fan, was not necessary. But the open place at Wat Kha, it's hot. It's April in Thailand is the hottest time, but the Sangha members sitting on the ground, and then Rinpoche Medo at the front on the bench. So it was giving us a very joyous feeling, and also that just the scene, Rinpoche Pasanno was offering the funding. I still remember it was some beautiful moment. That was really soon after I had the ordination, Upasampada, and then a day after I moved to Wat Kha because just the retreat was about to start. So for me, Rinpoche Pasanno was the first teacher of my monastic training, and so not just because of the seniority, but I know he would remember how I was, so like a feeling of small kids or even naughty kids in front of all the teachers, something like this. So like when I make an announcement, okay, come to the morning puja 5 o'clock or before, not after. And then me said, who are saying this? So I don't have to dwell on that kind of thought, but just still that conditioning comes back. But by now, a few weeks passed, and I'm getting used to. And as I said, it is very warm feeling I often experience just sitting next to him. Sometimes I talk with him. Sometimes we just sit quietly at the breakfast time. Other times, but unexpected, a wonderful time for me too. It's like after 30 some years, the big circle comes to the original point, something like this. And 2 weeks ago, Ajahn Pasanno offered us Dhamma reflection, and I think almost after a few sentences, the word he used was training. Maybe this is my experience, a memory. Here we often, at least myself, I use the word practice, but the word training is not that often used. But when Ajahn Pasanno said the word training, because of my conditioning too, my back immediately became straightened. And also he went on to talk about foundation of our practice, quoting Appanakapatipata, Indriya samsara, sensory restraint or the restraint of sense doors, and Bhojane Matanyuta, moderation in eating, and Jakaryan Yoga, it's a practice of awakeness. And this I heard many, many times, quite regularly in Thailand. But I sort of stopped reflecting on this. And it was so nice to hear this important aspect. The foundation. When I think of my monastic training, like at the monastery here, not often, I am the mentor to junior members of the community, and often I would talk about how to bow, how to take care of the ball and rope, something like this. When I think about actually where did I learn all of this, how did I got this knowledge? And always my answer is, yes, that was at Wat Panachat, first year, second year. So my time at Wat Panachat is actually only 2 years, the first year and the second year. Later on, I went to other monasteries, particularly big part was my time was with Ajahn Koesako, a Japanese monk who disrobed. But my sort of how to live as a samana, how to live as a monk, particularly in terms of form, what I learned was at Wat Panachat. That either directly from Luang Pasanno or indirectly from the Sangha. I got how to bow. What I learned from Luang Pasanno, I can say I share or I pass on what I learned, what I inherited. I pass on to the community. How to take care of the ball, or it's not here, but Luang mentioned about after the meal at Abhayagiri. I haven't been there, but because of the steep path to go back to Kuti, so he mentioned about how to take care of our wakefulness after the meal. And here, maybe it's a different story, but when I got ordained there at Wat Panachat, still I remember the teaching I received was, okay, after the meal, yes, take care of the bowl and everything, and then we go back to our kutis. And what we do is put the bowl in a kuti in a proper way, and then it is a hot country, so hang our robe on the line, just let it dry, and if necessary, or we actually sweep around the kuti and then do the walking meditation, Jongkron. So this instruction was given, I still remember, and then when I was in Thailand, I was doing it. So this way, the foundation, many ways, I learned. It was, you may say, only 2 years, but that gave me a sort of skeleton, backbone to my life as a samana. And then place changed from Thailand, different part of Thailand, and even to UK, different environment, different kind of community, but that basis, what I learned there, is still significant in me. And having recognizing this, naturally I had a sense of gratitude, even together with joy, arise in me. And practice, training. So, yes, it's already 38 years, 39 years since I arrived at Wat Panachad. The sense of time is not like a linear, we talk, so I can't think it is long or short, but just, it's not a feeling of nostalgia or anything like this, but once more, particularly being with Ajahn Pasanno, the training, what we are doing here, or what I have been doing, that comes to my mind naturally. And when I came to, I go back to the past again. When I came to Wat Panachad as a backpacker, one of the senior monks then approached me and just gave me one word, encouragement, get the mind strong, something like this. Make the mind strong either. In fact, I didn't like the word at first, because the word strong, I did not appreciate it, because that in my thinking then was like the strong exploit the others. That's this feeling of unfairness, justice, that was active in my mind. So when I heard the word strong, I didn't particularly like it. And the monk probably saw my facial expression. I didn't say anything. He changed the word, learn to purify the mind. And I liked it. But later on, I reflected, I still remember the word and the strong. It is true. We stay in a monastery and have a training. I understand, we know this is not necessarily easy place, very peaceful, well supported, and then everybody keeps a precept and then share the same aspiration. Wonderful. And yet we know it's not necessarily easy. Sometimes, yes, we feel inspired, other times opposite, even feeling lost. So when I reflect on this, my own, how I have been, also from my experience who been mentor to many people or practicing together with many other Sangha members, yeah, it is the case that there are challenges. There are many times that we feel disappointed, discouraged, or lost. So the word, what's the word? To have strong mind is actually true and the right word to use. Strong. Strong, it doesn't mean, for instance, to be eloquent, to win all the debate, discussions, and then make every time you're right. It's not that what we call strong, what I call strong. Rather, what is this being strong, or to have a strong mind? And we can explain many ways, but for tonight, for this evening, what came up to my mind is Vedana, feelings. Sukha Vedana, Dukkha Vedana, present feeling and unpleasant or painful feeling, and the neutral ones. And often we think agreeable, Sukha Vedana, good present feeling, is something naturally or without reflecting much, we like it. It's okay, but also we judge it as this is a right, and the opposite, to see opposite as something wrong. What I mean is, we've been many times be reminded. Okay, when we feel, let's say, motivated, we practice. And then when we are not, we still practice. This is very significant reflection. We need to come back again and again, because when we feel encouraged, yes, we're happy to continue. When we feel discouraged, okay, I want to change the place, I want to go somewhere else, something's wrong. We can't think in this way. This is what I mean when we find something nice feeling. Yes, this is it. This is what I want to. This is the right one. And then when we experience something opposite, we just simply, something is wrong. We don't want to continue. We need to change. But is it really safe? So this reminder or reflection of when we feel, when we are encouraged with practice, and when we experience the opposite, we still practice. Very simple reflection, but this is something we need to come back again and again as to really establish a foundation. Because if we think just looking for something agreeable, this is great, this suits me, this is what I expected. And then once something else comes, we react differently. So this is what I say, sukha. So just as we live, as we practice, we experience Sukha Vedana, Dukkha Vedana every day. And then, as a human being, as a being in a samsara, if you like, we want to have more Sukha Vedana, and then we really do not like to have a Dukkha Vedana, and then we just make a judgment. This is the one, this is wrong. But does it give us the really safe place? Once, when we think of how our life here, like this morning at the breakfast gathering, I talked about the morning pujas, getting up early in the morning. Some like it, some do not. Even if we feel sleepy or something you don't like, every day, again and again, we come. Or there was an announcement about washing up in a kitchen. Oh, I don't like, I don't want to do. I have something more important. But all of this, when we do in this community, peaceful, very nice environment, but actually there are routine, precept, or some duties, sometimes inconvenient, sometimes you like it, sometimes not. But all this brings us sometimes element of friction, disappointment, and something similar. But then, where to stand? This is a question. As I said, Sukha Vedana, Dukkha Vedana, we just followed all the habit of what we want to. Not just the material things, but the ideas. Oh, this is not my practice. This is not right for me. This is not something I planned. We have this habit. I have to. But I believe what we are learning is, rather than believing in this experience of Vedana, either Sukha Vedana, Dukkha Vedana, Adukkama Vedana, where is actually safe place? Where is the right place to be? In fact, we're very fortunate to listen to Rinpoche Medo's talk every fortnight, half-moon days. And I understand he talks only one thing, always. Consciousness, conscious awareness, awakened consciousness. He used a different word, but one thing always the same. Very strong reminder. Where is our refuge? Where we need to learn to come back, to be. And yet we have strong habit, tendency to just follow what we like, what do we think this is agreeable and so forth, again and again and again. And so monastic structure, from routine to precept and other things, it is the place. It doesn't have to be perfect, and it is okay for us to feel frustration or difficulties. And of course, sometimes we feel inspired. All of this, it is for training our heart, our mind. So I need to repeat again, Sukha Vedana, Dukkha Vedana. This is from moment to moment, either daily life or when we are with other friends, or in the practice itself. But we need to learn, we need to remember, where is our refuge, where is our safe place, what is the really purpose for us to be here. What is samana means? Samana, more precisely speaking, I was taught in Thailand, bhikkhu, the word bhikkhu, literally it means the one who begs, but more essential meaning is the one who sees the danger in samsara. So this is, we need to remember, this is the reason why we come to practice and to have a training, because our tendency, the mind that has not been trained, is just to follow its old habit. Either it is from our birth, and also it is reinforced by the society. The society does not reflect dukkha vedana, sukha vedana, those kind of things. Of course, for the society, the more what is more beautiful, younger, efficient, convenient, and then getting old, painful, is something wrong. Very, very, in a sense, very understandable. If you do not reflect, people say, this is the one, why not? But in the end, we may have we will have a suffering or conflicting each other. But once we come to the monastery and then to become ordained, to be a samana, what is it? To the one who sees the danger in samsara. And then just I probably oversimplify the story, understanding, but even this idea, the aspect of dukkha vedana, sukha vedana, if it's not unreflecting, the one who never reflects, or the society in general, it's just talking about sukha vedana, dukkha vedana, that's all. But what is a samana? Samana is not necessarily just grasping dukkha vedana, sukha vedana only, but we know that's not everything. Actually, we do not have to be lost there. They're simply letting go of them. The Buddha's teaching, middle way, is not necessarily A plus B divided by 2 to find almost like measuring the middle. It's not that. Actually, letting go of sukha vedana, dukkha vedana, for instance, those 2 extremes, mind is so conditioned to hold on to, but instead just letting go, and then simply the place of perfect balance appears, as Rinpoche Medo teaches, consciousness or in other words. So, being a samana, the one who sees the danger in samsara, when we experience difficulties, challenges, disappointment, all of this, or the opposite too, each time we can reflect, what is the right place, where is the safe place, whether we are to train ourselves to understand what is the escape from the samsara, or just believe this is the one I find satisfying. So living in a monastery, following this, or meeting with people, it is very peaceful environment, but we experience many, many kinds of things. But any experience, so-called good ones, too challenging ones, but it's really entirely whether we are learning or not, whether we are really training ourselves or not. It's entirely depend on where we stand. Do we really remember the place of consciousness? Or we are aware of these likes and dislikes, or dukkha vedana, sukha vedana. And then we can remember what is the true sense of middle way, majjhima patipata. So I need to conclude the talk. I started from my personal story, and when I reflect, my life as a monk, as a samana, it's already nearly 40 years. When I came to Wat Panachart, I was in my late 20s. I never thought how my life would be like this. No. I didn't have any, I couldn't think how it would be. And but now, very fortunately, having spent my life as a samana like this, I already used the word fortunate, but I really think I find myself fortunate, and I really feel grateful that I came to Wat Panachart to come across with Ajahn tradition, and after to meet Luang Pasanno as the first teacher, and I was also later on I had the fortune to meet many good teachers, and now I moved to Amaravati 2001, Luang Pasanno, and I knew Luang Pasanno. I met him here and there, but that was the first time to really live with him until now, and I didn't expect anything like this, but it's sorry, I repeat the same word. I find myself as a very fortunate, and so that's feeling. It goes to friends in the sangha, lay supporters. Nothing was possible without the support, kindness and understanding from those people. And nothing to regret, really. And if I may say one more thing, is I can very clearly say this life is worth to live through. I don't have to say this, but there are some people who want to join the sangha, or some people just started, some are already in the for many years. But once we are in a monastery like this, we maybe become lost in the small details, either some aspect of the practice or some incident, this and that. It's quite possible and normal too. But when we remember what's happening, what we are doing, where we are. This is very, very unusual, special, and so meaningful. So it's not easy, possibly not easy, but let's carry on. I'm not good at finishing the talk, so I spoke already enough for this evening. Thank you for listening.